YouTube, Magnificent here. We're replacing the transmission. This is a 01 S430. It started slipping. I tried to do a couple different things, change the sun axe, and I was close to restoring it, but I didn't install the tranny right. And when I went to shift the gears, it broke something. Otherwise, it would have been done. So I went the next best route, bought this tranny from eBay. Only 74,000 miles, which ain't bad. Mine has currently like 150, close to 200,000. So I looked online and there weren't many things that showed how to do a tranny change like quickly besides watching a 20-minute video. So let me just quickly show you. Go ahead and put your leg down for a moment, okay? Here are my helpers here. So you got the drive axle. Let me see if I can show it to you. So that's a this is the drive axle. Where my hand? There it is. That is the drive axle, that little pokey piece right there, right? So you got to take it out a couple different ways. Stop, don't do that yet. So first you got to take out the drive axle. The way you got to take it out is like, it's gonna be like this, like so, and you're gonna put it on like this. So this inside first, this goes in. When you're taking it out, you're going to supporting it with something. We're using a transmission jack, right? But before that, we were just using some pieces of wood. I mean, you could just do a DIY. I got some 2x4s. I cut it up in pieces. I set it up on top of this, and I just used that to support it. Then I took off on the back of this piece here. I think these are 18 or 19 millimeter bolts. I'll put it on the description. But you take these off. There's a little rubber piece that's behind it. I don't see it here right now. Otherwise, I'll show you. But you remove that, wiggle it off, and this axle actually slides front and back, right? So once this is released, you'll push it back, giving the tail end of the tranny some room. So then all you have left is to remove the bolts on top of there, and you're good to go. Now put the torque converter back there. Now once you do that, here's something before you even start removing the bolts on the tranny. Very, very important. I created a little, I don't want to say a spreadsheet, but a little diagram, right? I saw this online. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to make it all fancy. Get a cardboard piece of paper, draw a basic diagram of how many bolts you have on the tranny, and I just did, I noticed that there was 6 bolts from, I counted from 6 down up to 1 up top, and I just did the diagram. So when I took out each bolt, I cut a little circle and I stuck it in here. Guys, so critical. Instead of spending all your time trying to figure out which one goes where, it made it 10 times easier, right? So here's one that I'm still having back there, but that'll save your life as far as time. But all you do is literally, I went up to the top of the engine bay and I removed some of the top pieces. Now you don't have to, right? I remove, of course, these pieces, right? Be very careful. You don't want to break clips. And I took off the top parts. Now, before I even went at this job, I went on eBay and I bought this seriously ridiculous long extension set. Guys, you will not be able to do this without this extension set. Now, I'm sure that there may be some Transformers, X-Men, some Mr. Incredible ways to do it where you can just reach your hands. Maybe you have some super long fingers. But I bought this set of super long extensions from 3/8 to 1/2 inch, and those made all the difference when it came to taking out those bolts. I mean, here, take a look at a couple of them. By the way, here's that little piece I told you about that goes on the drive shaft that you'll remove, right? And only 3 of these go onto the drive shaft, like 1, 2, and 3. You'll be able to see which ones. But here are these long extensions. I mean, look how long those are. That's critical. So you'll use the extension just to get it started. I mean, make sure you got it straight, and you'll have your ratchet right here. So you'll stick this like up here. Oh, sorry, this way. You'll like go up in the bay, boom, and you'll go over the tranny, and then you just go boom. Just get it broken. Once it's broken, easy to do. Now, for most of them, you can actually break them straight up there. You'll probably need a swivel ratchet of some sort. I'll show you the one I have. Let me grab that swivel ratchet real quick. So I use a swivel ratchet. Check this out. Wham. it just swivels the head. This thing is so simple but so important. And this is a Pittsburgh brand, guys. This is a Harbor Freight version. Nothing fancy, but it just makes sense. Obviously a little bit more expensive than the average Joe. But this was so critical in getting the ones at the top end, the ones on the bottom, because you had to curve a little bit. And as long as you can break it from the long extensions and then just start curving it, oh, you're good. So once you do that, the tranny's out, but you're not done. You gotta get a torque converter out. Now, why remove the torque converter? Well, if you're going to be changing trannies, you might as well remove it. The torque converter has the same amount of wear as a tranny. So why go all this trouble, put the tranny back, and then have to, in the future, replace the torque converter? Just get them both at the same time. Now, to remove the torque converter, there are a couple of bolts that you'll have to notice, okay? Oh, I see he has been baptized in torque converter juice. Now, remember, the torque converter still has automatic transmission fluid in there. Just a heads up, buddy. So anyway, you don't have to put it back on there. It's fine. But actually, you know what? It would be helpful if you did. Maybe, you know what? Let's use the new one.
I got it.
Let me use the new one because that one has juice on there. Jeremiah, grab us the new one. It's on the tranny. So let me Yep, go ahead and give it to Malachi. So Malachi, put it down there. Oh, thank you, sir. Good to have your kids working with you. Only way to learn. All right. Hey, let's not slide on. Let's not do that. It's not a bowling ball, so let's lift it, please. Very delicate. All right, Malachi, go ahead and give him the one you got. And Jeremiah, remember that there's automatic transmission fluid in it, so keep it upwards, just like that.
That's a two-hand job, bud.
I just need that.
Okay, help him out with you. There we go. All right, so here's what I was trying to show you. There are all these bolts here. There's 2, 4, 6. So there's 6 bolts that you have to remove from the engine bay side. But before you do that, in order to see where the bolts are removed, there's this cover. Now, is it like so? So I'm going to show you. There's a cover that was from the engine bay side. Let Malachi put it in right quick, right there. So how did you pop it out? He just got a little screwdriver. See these little clips where his fingers are? Bam, just popped it off, show him. Came off like so. Once it was off, you see these holes? Point to that hole real quick. Do you see it? See that hole? Well, not that hole, but where the hole is. Yes, where that hole is, that's where the bolts went. Put a bolt through just to show them. Right here. All right, your hand's in the way. Yep, you got 6 of those. So all you have to do is take one off. If you don't see it immediately, you'll have to spin, keyword spin, the torque converter. It might be a little bit of tight. So Malachi, tell them, how did you get it spun?
I used this. Don't know what it's called.
Panel clip remover, something similar. You don't have to use that, but just kind of he kind of wedged, took the weight off the torque converter. See how I do that? And he just spinned it.
Just wedged it and spin.
Clockwise or counterclockwise?
It doesn't matter as long as you get to it.
All right. I saw it was easier for him when he was going. I think you were going clockwise. No, you're going.
I was going towards this.
Yeah, you were going clockwise. So he just spinned it, removed it, and it was a 13 millimeter.
Yep.
So you just let me show. He just used a 1/2 inch ratchet, nothing fancy, right? And look at the length. You know, not too fancy. It's what 4 inches, give or take, and just like so, popped it in there. Make sure you were even, and boom, he broke all of them. And how easy was the torque converter to come out as soon as you did that?
Slides right out.
Just slide right out, okay?
It'll fall out if you don't hold it.
It'll fall out if you don't hold it, so make sure you got that done. So we're gonna go ahead and get the new torque converter popped in, bolted in, and by the way, we noticed it wasn't even like super duper torque. You don't gotta go crazy when you put it back in. I mean, it was just hand tight almost, right? So just remember that. We're gonna go ahead and put the new torque converter in, and we'll be right back. I went ahead and put the first 2 13 millimeter bolts in. I'm going to show you how simple it is. So, Jeremiah, can you come hold this?
Yeah.
For a moment? All right, so you see these holes? There's 2 on each side. So I'm just going to you can literally just get it hand in there. Now, I was a little concerned at first that it was hard to get it back in, but go ahead and shake a little bit. No, that's okay. So what I did is just pop it in there. No, you can't because you can't see it. And I just went. Now, I was concerned initially about cross-threading. See, I feel something there. If you feel any resistance, go back. Just like I keep saying, just go back. Make sure it's right. but I'm sure it's right because there it is. See, he was pushing it in a little bit more. That feels much better. So go ahead and keep pushing. Now, how would you do this if you were one person? Well, I don't know. Maybe one hand push, the other hand go. So could you hold the ratchet there? There we go. Hold it so I can. Oh, it's going the wrong way. Ah, there it is. There it is.
Just edit that part out.
Okay, let's get out. See, that doesn't feel right to me. Look at how far that is. And it's tight. Should it be? I don't know. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back and twist the other one, make sure the other one's in first. And if it can go in, I'm gonna just keep pushing. So we'll go from there. But that's how you get those bolts in. Once you get the bolts in, go ahead and replace the cover, or meaning put the cover back on, and then you're ready to put the training back on. All right, guys. I'm go ahead and tighten it. Go ahead, Malachi. Tightening these. So just tighten them. Cool thing is, I was concerned that I would strip them, but you just keep tightening until it's done. A little tip, you got 6 bolts, so instead of doing the 2 that are right next to each other because they're like this, do 1, so go to the other side, do 1 of each, and then come back and do the other one of each so that they can have equal pressure all over. So yeah, it's star-shaped. So if you open it up, you'll see it, but just trust me. But we're just tightening it. We only got about 2 more, and we're good to go. It's pretty easy. Again, get that ratchet right there. See how snug? You just feel it. Yep, right there.
Will start to spin.
Right there. It'll start to spin, so you'll see it. So watch him. Go ahead and flip it, or not flip it, but he's gonna go ahead and spin it, and you will see the bolt right there. See that? The bolts just show up. All right, we'll finish these other 2, and we'll be right back. All right, we're putting the cover back on. Notice the clip goes in the first, and you literally just push. Hear that clip? Pop, pop, in. All right, time to get the training on. All right, in the process, here's a little viewer aid to save yourself maybe an hour of work. When you take the torque converter out, ensure you mark how the spline was. This is the spline when you took it out, because these little ridges here, they go in. If you look inside the torque converter, there are ridges in there. They go in specifically, and depending on where it's at, that's how it needs to go in. So Jeremiah, please go ahead and put it in. So if you just simply put the torque converter in, not without taking into consideration, notice how he's having to find the ridge, and it went right in. Notice that? So if you just, for example, replace the torque converter and you didn't do the ridge properly, you're going to be spending a lot of time wondering why it doesn't fit. So we did that. Whoops. But hey, it is what it is. But save yourself that time and just mark. Go grab the marker. All you need to do, for example, if it's in like this, you would just simply get a marker, mark like so, mark down here so that when that piece and that piece align, guess what? You know it's aligned. Jeremiah, just show them, because that's what I did. You know, just simply, you know, if for example, do a marker right here. I like to do it on landmarks, right? So on this landmark, for example, I would draw a line right here that would
there's already a line right there.
Coordinate. Like for example, perfect. See, there's a line right here we drew. And since I can't see up top if I'm putting the tranny in, I would be able to see in the bottom, hey, this is where we want to be. And you would know for sure that when you're putting the tranny in, because of course the torque converter is attached to the engine, it's bolted to the engine, you'll know that you're in the right place, and that's not what's keeping you from going in, because we were wondering why we weren't able to go in. So we're going to pop that in and just test fit it real fast and get back to popping the tranny in. So when you position the torque converter correctly, notice the jack here, with some help, thank you. It's late, thank you for the help. So when you position that correctly, this is how close it will be to the engine bay with the torque converter in, as it should be. We tried other ways, thinking that maybe we put the torque converter first, or put the tranny on with the torque converter on the tranny. That would prevent us from having to level things out or align things. No, it just doesn't work, because you got 6 bolts you got to put on, and you can't really move the flywheel to be in position of those 6 bolts that the torque converter is attached to. So, but it literally, let's see that line right here, that little black line. That is the line that is attached strictly, that is also corresponding with the torque converter. Let me see if you can see it. I don't know if you can see the torque converter line at all. You can't. All right, so either way, this is how close it's supposed to be. Just so you know, now you can get all the bolts in. You're gonna get all the bolts in first. Once that's in, you'll have enough room for you to go ahead and put the rubber little cushion thing. I know it's not an official name, but for that goes from the tail end of the tranny to the shaft. I'm gonna put some dielectric grease on it just so I can kind of wiggle it in there, and then I'll bolt it on. Then we'll get both of those connected. So we'll get to that point and move forward. Here's a bolt diagram. I went from the top down, numbered them 6, 5, 4 all the way through. Makes it real easy. We're just doing a star pattern. Got these top ones in. Critical, you make sure you get all of them at least just in before you start tightening. So I got these couple left, and I'm gonna get them all in, and then I'm gonna start doing the torquing. Change your flex disc just so you know, maybe while we're here. If you see cracks in it, like you see that crack there, not too bad. You know, but that's where you kind of start seeing it needs to get changed, you know. That crack, it's not too bad. This one's not too bad, but I changed it anyway because, you know, the newer tranny only has 74K miles versus this 150 or 175K. But when putting it in, there are little indentations inside this little plate that connects to the transmission. So you see these little areas here, these little protrusions. You notice some are protruded, some are not. This one's protruded. You're gonna make sure that these indentations go in here. Now, it seems like it goes in there easily, right? But you're gonna need to push it more so you can get as much clearance as you can, because when you put that bolt in between here, you got the drive shaft, the bolt goes in, you're gonna need as much clearance as you can to make sure that you can actually get some thread started. So just a little tips of the trade, it makes a big difference. Also, I didn't even think about this, although I know, whenever I change my brake lines, I always change the banjo bolts. So when you're done, obviously, you're gonna have some banjo bolts that you got to put in. Now, I put in the driver's side okay. I'm sorry, the passenger side okay. But what I didn't anticipate was the driver's side banjo bolt washer was just done. Now, surprisingly, the washer for the passenger, it worked. It didn't leak. But just again, if you're gonna change a tranny, get some banjo bolts. It's a 14 millimeter by 1.5 banjo bolt and washer. So just get the bolts are fine, but just get that. It'll make your life different. But once we did that, guys, it was awesome. It shifted perfectly, and we have a brand new tranny. And I'll just close by saying this: listen, you can do this. There's no reason you can't do this. The tools we use, just normal tools, jack stands. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's definitely easier with 2 people, but if you needed to, you can do it with 1. You really got this. Max, 1 person, you plan out all you needed, the tools. You'll see the suggested tools on the beginning of the description. You're looking about, maybe by yourself, maybe 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours. With someone else, it's definitely about 3 hours, right? 3 hours, maybe 2 if you guys are on your game. If you've never done this before, like we had never done this before, it took us, guessing and checking, removing this and that, and trying to figure things out. It was a good about 6-7 hours, broken up in a couple of days, of course. But there's no reason you can't get this thing done. So, now we're transforming this vehicle to where it should be. So, got the transmission in, it shifted perfectly. I kind of found out late that I needed a banjo bolt, so everywhere's closed. So I ordered one, and it'll be here pretty quick because where I live, Mercedes is not. They don't have any sellers for them. So anyway, you got this, guys. Any questions? Please leave them in the description. If this was helpful, please share your comment, subscribe, like, and hey, let me know what you think. Of course, give a thumbs up, and like I said, please hit that subscribe button. And you got some more coming soon. And you'll see in the next video is once you change your transmission, you're gonna need to reset it because the transmission, it relearns. It needs to be relearned. So drivers don't know this necessarily, but your tranny has a computer inside where it learns how you drive, the best shift points and such. So when you put a new tranny in, you need to tell the computer to start all over, to learn from what you do now. And I'll do that in the next video. So take care, guys. Magnificent signing out.